negotiation with us about our pay, about health care, and things of that nature.
Wow.
And those owners came downstairs, and before they agreed to do it, they threatened every player that was there.
We're about to have a real conversation with basketball greats, with some real champions, with some sportsmen, Craig Hodges and Dr. Lloyd Walton. Now, Craig was telling me before you got here, there is a relationship way before basketball.
Absolutely.
Talk about that, Craig.
You know, first of all, just thank you for the opportunity to come on. But Lloyd was one of my heroes growing up, in as far as, you know, he was in the community and he was one of the young brothers who went off to school, and he was, in my family, it was always they always pointed me in the direction of people who were successful, who came from the community, and to show you that you had the opportunity to do the same. And, you know, went on and watched Lloyd when he was at Marquette, and come to find out through family conversations the impact that my family had on him. And then when we got a chance to speak, he spoke highly of my family, and it's always cool to see the brother.
See, his being introduced to sports, right? You go to the park, and the first introduction to sports for me was baseball. And I remember, and I told him this story. It's in my book, actually. So I walk into the park, and I hear this voice around the corner from the field house, this groveling voice. Hey, pick it up, you can do it. So I walk around the corner, I see this guy with a baseball cap, hair pulled to the back, and a cigarette dangling out his mouth, giving out orders, and everybody is on the edge of their seat, listening so attentively. That was his grandfather.
Oh, boy.
And so
10
years after that, his uncle taught me how to shoot a jump shot.
And me too.
Basketball. And then here he comes along and perfects
it, right, and perfects it. Right, exactly.
All right,
exactly.
must be in the blood, right?
Hey, it's in the DNA
All right,
of the
now,
Heights.
you got to tell me about this three-point. Now, you know, I'm not a great basketball or team guy, so show me, do me, tell me the three-point.
Well, when we grew up earlier, it wasn't a three-point line. It was just basically everything was two-point shots. But growing up for me, it was always intriguing to see how far away I could get from the basket to shoot it. And growing up in high school, I never had a three-point line, never had it in college, but I could shoot at distances. And then when I got into the league, it was one of those things that the game naturally, and spacing and all, that you get a chance to knock down 3 points instead of 2. So for me, it was a blessing, but at the same time, it was one of those things where Lloyd would tell you, sometimes it can pigeonhole you. To me, I felt like it took away from me doing other things and possibly garnering more money, but at the same time, to be able to be the best shooter or be the best of anything on the planet is something great. So at one point in time, I could say I was the best shooter on the planet Earth.
Wow, and that I was going to say, now I read up on you, and that's what they say. In 1991, you playing with the Bulls.
Yes.
Championship game.
Yes.
Rodney King was beaten by policemen in California. Bad brain damage.
Right.
You wanted to stop the game. Tell me about that.
Well, at that time, Lloyd, to tell you, we were coming out of, and there's some historical content, you know, during the 70s, the league was struggling in as far as attendance and the like, and then Magic and Bird came in '79 and started somewhat of a resurgence of the league from marketing in. And then during that period of time, there was really little spoken from an apolitical end. Players took the position that I wasn't going to speak too much to what was going on socially. But when I was taught, you know, coming from the Heights as part of the civil rights movement and having a chance to go to Long Beach State and study black studies, and as well as have Tex Winter as my coach, I was blessed to be able to look into issues and not be afraid to, you know, speak to them. And so for me, it was a natural that when I saw that, and we were on the bus talking about it, that's why so many things that myself and Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf is another brother that speaks his mind, is that, you know, we would talk about these things in private, on bus, on plane, in team meetings or whatever, because it was apparent what happened, you know. But when it became a public event, it would be, they'll put a mic in front of MJ's face or Scotty's face, and they wouldn't have anything to say because they would say, I don't know enough about it. But I'm saying, when you see somebody beat down like that, what facts do you need to know?
You know about it.
You can see it.
So today, you were way ahead of your time.
You know, for me,
but you said you wouldn't stop the game now.
Oh, me? Oh, I wouldn't have played. See, if I'm from a different mindset. I feel like boycotts work. We have history to know that they work, but they have to be strategic and it has to be timed.
It's got to be planned.
And it couldn't be a better time than now. And to me, you were given 2 outs. You were given the out of the COVID and you were given out of the murder. So you had an easy out. And to me, it's just like we were talking about, a recalibration of what we're going to do with our life energy right now. And it's on us to define what that will be. And I feel like our athletes have that bully pulpit at this time in their life and the resources that we can really see a difference in how we go about and be more mature about how we use our talent and our life's energy.
So, Lloyd, you and I talked about offline, off camera, we talked about the difference between now and, say, Ali's protests not going to Vietnam. People don't know, but as you read now, if you read up on Jackie Robinson, never again did he pledge allegiance to the flag, for example. Jim Brown. What's the difference between the individual protests of yesterday and the group protests of today? How's it different?
It's very, very simple, in my opinion, that we're always stronger when we're united.
Absolutely.
On an individual basis, we can only reach so many people. Our voice is only so loud, right? And it only carries to so many people. So today, when you see athletes, particularly basketball, I'll talk about that. When you see, well, not just basketball, when you see these young people coming together from all walks of life, a very diverse group and movement, if you will, saying we've had enough, right? We're going to stand for something. We're not going to allow you to kill these black and brown people without us saying something. This is a human rights thing, in my opinion, right? That they're taking a stance for. The thing about in the past, we had some individuals that were vocal, but we had some who were silent. Silence gets you nothing, right? You have to be able to speak up. The problem with it was that they were about to lose everything. The same thing that happened to Craig 30 years later was going to happen to them right then. And there was really no recourse, right? I remember in the '64 NBA All-Star game, with the owners, the players were being treated so badly that the players, and this was white and black players, were in the locker room and said, you know what, the owners have not negotiated with us fairly. So we're not going, and this was the first televised All-Star game, we're not coming back out to play, okay, unless the owners come down here and begin to have an honest, sincere, and genuine negotiation with us about our pay, about health care, and things of that nature.
Wow.
And those owners came downstairs. And
that.
before they agreed to do it, they threatened every player that was there. The logo that you see of Jerry West was threatened by his owner, who said, you will never play another game of basketball in the NBA if you don't get out here and play. Together, they stood firm, and they did not move until the owners decided, well, we're going to be honest, sincere, and genuine about our negotiation. That was black and brown. They stood together. The unification of all of them made a difference to the owners, right?
It's basic, the power of unity.
And the cool part about it is that's the foundation of when I was asking them to boycott during the '91 finals, was that example that he just gave, because that was the foundation of our union. So what we're rolling on now is what they did back then. And I think oftentimes, based on the kudos of social media, that we don't look back on how we got to the point where we are. And that I think that's one of the cool things also with the social media and the like. And the opposite of that is that young people do have instantaneous ability to support.
Hey, we're going to be right back with some champions, with some great discussion on what's happening today in the world of sports, particularly basketball. Got champs with us. Don't go away.